Oh, good. It's ringing. It's ringing. Good. Yeah. Hey, Bruce. Just your old buddy Donnie here calling from Boston. Sorry, I missed you. I was out there in Vegas. I was looking for you, but I wasn't able to run into you. I left you a couple messages. I was really hoping you'd give me a call back. Um, oh, oh, Bruce. Yeah, you there? Oh, Bruce. Hi. So good to hear your voice. I was just leaving you a Yeah, I know I've called you 4 times. I get that. I just really missed you, and, the last message I wasn't sure if it actually hit your inbox, so I yeah, I know. I know. I fired you. Yeah, I know. I know. Yes, I do know Jack Adams. Yeah, I do know what that means. Yeah. Yeah, I know you weren't the first Jack Adams award winner I fired. I get that. Yeah, but I just really wanted to talk to you and just say hello. Yeah, I know you would have handled the 23 playoffs differently. Yeah, I know you beat Florida that year. I know you yeah, yeah, I know fans have reminded me of that. Yeah. But I just really wanted to get a moment to chat with you and just see how you're doing. I just really miss you. Yeah, I know Jake DeBrusque actually had his best season under you, and yes, yeah, his defense did improve a lot under you. I get that. Yeah, I know. I know I screwed up the 2015 draft. I get that. Yeah, I know. I know I made some mistakes. I know. Yeah. Yeah, but I just, again, just really miss you and man, if you're not doing anything next summer, we'd love to have you back out here in Boston. I know. Yeah, I did trade Brad Marchand. Yeah. Why are you laughing? What? What? Okay, I'll stop calling. He hung up. Hello again, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Happy Sunday out there. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Had a great one here with my little boy. Had a lot of fun. Had a chance to be at the Cross Insurance Arena on Friday night for the ECHL Maine Mariners. And also, just a real quick congratulations to the University of Maine Black Bears for winning that Hockey East Championship on Friday night. They are heading out to, I think it's Allenstown, PA, for the national championship, that top seed in that bracket of 4, playing Penn State. So that'll be a lot of fun. In continuing my series of playoff battleship teams as we get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, we are going to take a deep dive into the Vegas Golden Knights. Of course, these stats will not include tonight's game against the Lightning. That game just getting kicked off here. I'm actually going to be turning that game on here in just a little bit. But 69 games played for the boys, 41, 20, and 890 points so far. First place in that Pacific Division. Home and away splits there 26, 7, and 3 at home, 15, 13, and 5 away. So a little bit more ho hum on the road, but a plus 18 um, in that goal differential. I might have that one right. I think it's a plus 47, actually. Yeah, I've got that one wrong. It's plus 47, I believe, on the goal differential. But including last night's win, they're 6-2-2 in the past 10. And of course, that 2-game winning streak. Really dominant effort last night for the team. Some of the key stats for the Golden Knights so far: goals for, they're at 3.36, fifth in the league. Goals against, 2.68, tied, I believe, for seventh in the league. Power play just absolutely cooking, 29.8%, good for second in the league. Maybe one small Achilles heel for the team, the PK right now at 75.7, that's 24th in the league. And the faceoff dot, you're at 50.1%, good for 18th in the league. as I've done on my last couple of episodes for Winnipeg and Toronto, I kind of took a look at moneypuck.com, wonderful site for all sorts of different advanced metrics and some of those expected type stats as well. So, going to look at a few of those tonight. High danger shots for, they're at 296. That's fourth in the league. And against, they're 227. So, 12th best in the league. Rebound goals against, kind of what I like to look at, just tells you how well the team, how well the goaltender puts rebounds in good spots, how well the team cleans that up. They've given up 27 rebound goals against. That's 22nd in the league. Goals for above expected, a minus 3.57. So that's middle of the pack, 14th in the league. Goals against above expected, a minus 16.16. Good for ninth. So very good metric there. And goal differential above expected at 12.59 in the top 10 at ninth. Very good metric there for them. Percentage of shot attempts that are blocked. They do a very good job here. They don't get a lot of blocked shots blocked. 26.98%. That's good for third in the league. So a creative offense that knows how to create those lanes and create that space out there. Save percentage above expected on unblocked shots. That's a 0.56%. Good for ninth in the division, or in the division, in the league. And then another one, saves on unblocked shots. So how good are those goaltenders doing when they're getting unblocked shots to them? They're fourth in the league at 93.6%. Top performers for the Golden Knights, Jack Eichel, 68 games played, 22 goals, 64 assists, 86 points. Forward Mark Stone, 55 games for him, 18 goals, 43 assists for 61 points. Tomas Hertl, of course, hat trick last night, 69 games for him, 30 goals now, 28 and 58 total points for him. Of course, Shea Theodore out right now, but 55 games played for him, 7 goals, 41 assists for 48 points. And Pavel Dorofeyev, 69 games played, 30 goals, 16 assists for 46 points. We'll talk about Pavel here in a little bit. Goaltending been very solid again this year. Aiden Hill, that lead goaltender, 42 games played, gets the win last night, 26th on the season, to go along with 11 losses and 5 overtime losses, 2.51 goals against, and a 907 save percentage. 4 shutouts on the season for him as well. Ilya Samsonov, 27 games as the backup, 15, 9, and 3. Very good 2.81 goals against and an 889 save percentage. 2 shutouts there for him as well. Looking back at my summertime predictions for the team, I'm just going to read some of the excerpts that I had from that video going back to the summer. Quote, going into the season, I believe the most important piece for this team will be staying healthy. They had a lot of lost games for core players throughout last season. Eichel, Stone, Theodore, Petrangelo. They survived it, but it cost them in the playoff seedings and the first round matchup for sure. July 1st did not treat this team very well. Lots of important players went out the door. The cap being what it is for the team, this was the reality. And a reality I believe management was prepared for. Once you make the trades for Hanifin and Hertl and re-sign Hanifin on top of that, the writing was on the wall that a few favorite players would be leaving. The management has never been scared to lose beloved players and simply move on for, in their judgment, the betterment of the team. With a cup in hand and 2 cup appearances in their short history, it is hard to argue with their strategy. Now, no first round picks until 2027. So at some point, the bill is going to come due on how they're building their roster year over year. But for today, they are still a player in the West. Despite the losses of Marchessault, Stevenson, and others, I still feel this team has enough scoring depth to be in the mix come playoff time. They're still strong defensively. Again, they need Theodore and Petrangelo to stay healthy. And Hill and net with Samsonov as backup is just fine, in my opinion. Cassidy tends to get the most out of his clubs, and there may be times in this season where he and his staff will have to dig a little bit deeper with the group. I still feel this is a playoff team coming into April, and I feel this is a better team than what the Kings and Kraken will be putting out on the ice this season. So playoffs again for Vegas? Yes, absolutely. Will be interesting to see if their roster strategy continues to work. I would say so far, so good on all of that. Yeah, I think injuries has been the big one there that he turned to last year that's been different this year. despite the Theodore injury right now. This is a very healthy team. They've been fairly healthy all year, and it's going on the ice, right? Talking about the trade deadline, they didn't do much this time around. Didn't have to do a lot this time around, which is kind of uncommon. Vegas typically is the one making a lot of noise out there. I do wonder about Brad Marchand if he doesn't end out in Vegas. If he had wanted to go west, I feel like he would have been a heck of a fit for that team and for that coach. They do pick up old friend Riley Smith from the Rangers through 8 games, just the 2 assists. So, more of a depth forward for the team at this point, but, a familiar face, someone that knows that room, knows that city. And I think he's just going to be, just fine. So, in lieu of not a lot that happened at the trade deadline, how are those players working out that they brought in last year? Because they went fishing last year and they caught a couple of big fish in Tomas Hertl and Noah Hanifin. Of course, we already looked at Hertl, now 30 goals on the season. You've got him locked up 3 more years at 6.75 million. And Noah Hanifin, 69 games played, 9 goals, 26 assists for 35 points, a +5. And you do have 3 more years of him at 7.35. Of course, with that cap going up, these are extremely manageable numbers for what these players are, what they give you night in and night out. Seamless fit for both players, I would say. I can't say I stay up every night and watch Vegas games. They are on pretty late here on the East Coast. But from what I've seen and looking at the numbers and watching a few of their games, it just seems like they've been a seamless fit. And having them locked up, it meant the team didn't need to go crazy, either on July 1 or here at this most recent trade deadline. They kind of did their shopping ahead of time, and they had a game plan. They knew that going out grabbing those guys, they were going to lose a couple of pieces, which they did, but they were ready for it, and they might be better for it, perhaps, right? Um, let's talk about Dorofeyev, though. I want to talk about Pavel Dorofeyev for a bit. While they don't use a ton of their draft capital, when they do, they do very, very well. Dorofeyev was drafted in 2019 in that third round, 79th overall, and is having just a breakout career year for himself. 30 goals, 16 assists for those 46 points. But even better than his stat line, look at his contract. I had to look this one up myself, but Vegas has him for one more season at a meager, when I say meager, $1.835 million for a 30 plus goal scorer. And he's an RFA, after that next season. So he'll be an RFA, I believe, going into 2026. So you'll have a little bit of control there if you're Vegas. Can't imagine why they wouldn't try to lock him up. But this is part of why Vegas can continue to do these kind of Vegas-like things, right? Trade most of their draft picks away, go grab that high-priced veteran, and just keep winning and keep continue that relevance that they've had since day one. Really, I mean, they continue just the algorithm continues to work for them. And when they do have to use some draft capital, they land a guy like this. Hey, when you have a hard cap like the NHL does, you need kids like this to step up at that cheap price and give you that kind of production. That's the difference from being a first round out to hoisting the Stanley Cup or just missing the playoffs to getting to a conference championship. It's players like this for sure. Um, so I just love it. I love seeing what he can do and what he has done. And it's um, when you look at the cap too, he's taking up less than 3% of the cap space, and he's going to be over 30 goals now. He'll clearly be over that. It's only 24 years old and looking like he's at the beginning of something very, very special for himself. So that's just awesome. As you might have put together at the beginning of this video, no surprise for all you Golden Knight fans out there watching this, you do need to realize something. Um, any honest, self-identifying Boston Bruins fan is absolutely jealous of you right now, and they're not over it. I say they. I'm not over it. Okay, I'm not over it. Um, why Boston fired him was beyond me. I haven't been like mad in sports very often in my life. I think when the Patriots lost to the Giants in that Super Bowl where they had the perfect season, I had some anger when Mookie Betts was traded from Boston. Hence why I'm a Toronto Blue Jays fan now. I was angry. Um, it was the same kind of anger that I had when Sweeney and Neely made the decision to fire not themselves as they should have, but fire Bruce Cassidy. In a season where you lose to Carolina in that first round, a year where you were like a wild card team, you kind of got in. I think you had 107 points, so you pretty good team. But Carolina was just owned you all year. They smoked you all year. You get to that playoff first round matchup, and you take Carolina to 7. That hit my expectations. I was like, all right, we didn't get smoked through, in that first round. We lose, but Bruce Cassidy got as much out of that team as he could. He just soaked as much out of that version of the Bruins that he possibly could. And this, of course, was the year before the Bruins go on a historic run with Jim Montgomery. I remember where I was when I found out the news that he was fired. I had to pull my car over. So again, for you Vegas fans out there, I know Vegas has a lot of fans that come in from all the country. Um, if you meet any Bruins fans, ask them, "Hey, how do you feel about Cassidy? How do you feel about your coaching situation?" And if they don't have the same level of visceral anger that I still have all these years later, then there's something wrong. But you've got one of the very best coaches running your team, and I'm so happy for him. I am just so happy for him. I'm happy he got that Stanley Cup under his belt with you all. And beyond him, really, when you look at the culture out there, it's just working, right? Very quickly, that culture has worked over these years. Vegas can bring in all sorts of different types of personalities, different types of veteran players, and just make it work. You know, look at, case in point, look at Jack Eichel. Look at where he was, what he was going through health wise, and just the situation in Buffalo, and look where he is now. Look at Thomas Hertl. Good player in it, but in a very bad situation in San Jose. You bring him in, it's just working, right? Hertl hadn't had a 30-goal season since 21-22, and this may be his second best scoring season of his career. So it's just a great place for hockey players to go and play. They've been relevant since day one, and as a hockey fan, I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I can fully admit, jealous sometimes, but overall, I love it. Absolutely love it. Looking at the books right now, of course, we are talking Vegas, so we can talk a little bit of betting. I'm not a betting person myself, but Stanley Cup odds right now, BetMGM has you at plus 1,100, DraftKings at plus 1,200, and FanDuel plus 1,000. So if you are a betting type, that kind of puts you in the top 6, top 7 of all teams. So as we look at this group right now, what can we think of that might stop Vegas from winning another cup this season? Let's just talk through some things. Talk the Theodore injury. He was placed on LTIR on the 20th, retroactive, of course, to Four Nations, broken wrist, but he's been cleared for full contact in practice, should be back soon. So what a welcome relief. Going back to Four Nations when that happened, you thought, oh boy, here we go. I'm sure as a Vegas fan, you're thinking, here we go again. Like, this is what kind of hurt us last year. So great news there. Carlson, of course, is back. So as long as, there's no setbacks for Theodore, he should be fine. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's just look at the West. Another thing that could trip up Vegas is just the West is loaded. It's the best conference this year. I do think home ice is going to be absolutely critical. I just do. It's always critical, but when you look at their splits, the home and away splits, they're pretty average on the road. Very, very good. Very tough to play against at home. You got teams like Dallas, Colorado bloated up. Winnipeg is really good. Edmonton, I know they've been kind of ho hum lately, but you don't want to take them lightly. It's going to be extremely tough to come out of the Western Conference, and if you're able to, you're in really good shape. Obviously, I would, really not mind seeing a, you know, uh, let's see, Vegas, Dallas, Vegas, Colorado final would be pretty cool. Another thing that could trip you up. What about goaltending? How comfortable are we with the goaltending right now? Do you trust Aiden Hill for another run at this? Vegas's PK, right now it's kind of towards that bottom fourth of the league. They're 24th overall, so they're on the cusp of that kind of third to fourth tier. And the team ranks 15th, so middle of the pack in block shots in front of their netminders. But let's take a look at Hill's playoff line. We know it's 12 wins, 2.09 goals against, and a 932 save percentage with 3 shutouts. Of course, going back to that cup run a couple years back. So if he can recreate that, and he's having a decent year, he's having a good year. The team can, if they can kind of lock it down a little bit better on the PK. I feel like your goaltending should be fine. I think that experience really means a lot. So you keep Hill healthy. How much do you trust Samsonov as a backup? I mean, if he has to go in and play a lot, guy again, all those years in Toronto, and where was he? Washington before that hasn't had a ton of playoff experience, I don't believe, or not a lot of long runs, that's for sure. So um, I think you're fine. I think I think Hill. It's funny, right? Nationally, I don't think he gets the um, the fair weather treatment as some other goaltenders out there. And of course, when you have guys like like Hellebuck and Ottinger out there, you had come east. You got Igor in New York. You've got Bob down in Florida. A lot of guys doing a lot of great things. Abe Hill kind of gets lost in the shuffle. He's a very good goaltender that can no doubt win you a Stanley Cup, in my opinion. So I don't think it's really a hurdle for the team. I think they're in good shape. Of course, you can say this about every team, but playoff injuries. Right now, the team is very healthy, but this is always an unknown. And while this is still a house of a team in terms of Vegas to deal with, and the Golden Knights are a house, I do think it's fair to say that they're probably not as deep top to bottom as they were 2 years ago. I mean, to go back 2 years ago, I mean, lines 1 to 4 were loaded. You guys were loaded, and you're still really good. You still have a ton of talent. Probably just not just as loaded as you were a couple years ago. So 2 years ago, you were probably better suited to deal with injuries, during a playoff run. But listen, health throughout the playoffs always important. I do think it will be extra critical for Vegas, especially with Theodore coming out the injury, Carlson coming out the injury. You hope there's no setbacks. You hope they're okay because those are two big pieces to the team. Looking at records against other Western Conference potential playoff teams, we'll just run through this here. You got Edmonton, you're 2-1 against them. LA 1-3, so a little struggle there. Calgary put them on the board 2-0. Winnipeg 2-0. Dallas 1-1. It's been some really good games with Dallas. Colorado 1-0-1. Minnesota 2-0. St. Louis 2-0-1, and Vancouver probably not going to be a playoff team, but they're kind of still in the mix 2-0. So that brings you to a total of 15, 5-3. Yeah, impressive. Yes. A couple trouble spots perhaps with the Kings and Dallas. Okay, whatever. Um, that's a very impressive line, and of course, we know these numbers go right out the door, right out the window when the playoffs start. But I think that's a very impressive 23 games against some really good top quality opponents. So good on them. Yeah, I mean, listen, the injuries haven't hurt them yet that we talked about last summer, as being an issue. The roster losses from July, yeah, haven't really missed a beat, right? Bruce again is getting a lot out of this group per usual. Um, would I be surprised if Vegas wins another cup this year? No, not at all. Will not be surprised at all. I do feel like the West champion, whoever does win the West this year, is winning the Stanley Cup. I do. I just think it's a better conference. I think that, well, for as good as Washington has been, and we'll cover them next. Florida, of course, you can't take them lightly once they get healthy. They can be a house, but I just feel like what the West has to offer is going to be better. So like I said earlier, a Vegas Dallas conference final, a Vegas Colorado conference final. Oh, sign me up for that, man. That would be so much fun to watch. So, like this team, like them a lot. They're a lot of fun to watch. I've been to Vegas just once in my life. Of course, it was during NHL shutdown. So me and the ex, we were able to walk around the stadium, went to the gift shop, but have not been to a game there. That is on my very short bucket list to get out there for a game sometime. Would love to do it, but that's what we have. So we will turn this Vegas Tampa game on tonight. Should be a good one. They're in the first period right now. I don't have the score in front of me. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you do like what you're hearing here, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. It does help me out a lot. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.